In the land of Karnataka, where the rivers carried the whispers of saints and the temples stood as pillars of devotion, lived Basavanna, the great mystic and reformer. His wisdom was simple yet profound, revealing truths that broke the illusions of the mind. One evening, as the sun painted the sky in hues of gold, Basavanna sat under a peepal tree near the temple. His disciple, Eknatha, approached him with a question that had been troubling him for days. Eknatha bowed before his guru and asked, "Guruji, they say thoughts are energy. But energy never dies, it only transforms. If that is true, then where do our thoughts go when we stop thinking them? Do they vanish, or do they still exist somewhere?" Basavanna smiled, his eyes gleaming with wisdom. "Ah, my child, you are beginning to see deeper. Let me show you something." He gestured for Eknatha to follow him. Basavanna led Eknatha to a still pond nearby. The water was calm, reflecting the sky like a mirror. He picked up a small pebble and dropped it into the water. Ripples formed, spreading outward in perfect circles. "Look at the water, my child. What do you see?" Eknatha observed and said, "I see ripples moving across the pond, Guruji." Basavanna smiled. "And what caused them?" Eknatha replied, "The pebble, Guruji. When it touched the water, the ripples formed." Basavanna nodded. "Now watch carefully." They stood in silence as the ripples slowly faded away, and soon the pond was still again. "Now, tell me, where did the ripples go?" Eknatha frowned, deep in thought. "They disappeared, Guruji." Basavanna shook his head. "No, my child, the ripples did not disappear. They merged back into the water. The energy of the ripple did not vanish, it was absorbed into the whole." He placed his hand on Eknatha's head and said, "Your thoughts are like these ripples. When you think, you create movements in the vast ocean of consciousness. When you stop thinking, the energy of those thoughts does not vanish, it merges back into the field of existence." Eknatha's eyes widened. "So, thoughts do not die? They dissolve into something greater?" Basavanna smiled. "Yes, my child. Just as a ripple returns to the water, your thoughts return to the vast consciousness from where they arose." Still, a doubt remained in Eknatha's heart. "But Guruji, sometimes I have thoughts that never seem to leave me. They come back again and again. If they dissolve, why do they return?" Basavanna picked up a drum lying nearby and struck it once. The deep sound echoed across the temple courtyard and slowly faded. "Did you hear that sound, my child?" Eknatha nodded. "Yes, Guruji." Basavanna then asked, "Where did the sound go?" Eknatha hesitated. "It faded, Guruji." Basavanna's voice became soft yet powerful. "The sound faded from your ears, but the vibration still exists in the space around us. Even when you can no longer hear it, its effect lingers. This is the secret of thoughts." He continued, "Some thoughts fade immediately, like ripples in a pond. But some thoughts, if repeated often, create deep vibrations in your mind, like the echo of a drum that lingers in the air." Eknatha's face lit up. "So, the more I repeat a thought, the stronger its energy remains?" Basavanna nodded. "Yes. And this is why some people struggle to escape negative thoughts, because they have echoed them too often in their own mind. A thought is not just a moment, it is an imprint on the vast field of consciousness." Eknatha's mind was now brimming with realization, but he had one last question. "Guruji, if thoughts never truly die, then how can we get rid of the ones that disturb us?" Basavanna led him to a small fire burning nearby. He pointed to the wood inside the flames. "This fire is burning wood, correct?" Eknatha nodded. "Yes, Guruji." Basavanna picked up a dry leaf and dropped it into the fire. In an instant, it turned to ash and disappeared. "Now tell me, child, where did the leaf go?" Eknatha thought for a moment and said, "It was burned by the fire, Guruji." Basavanna smiled. "Exactly. The fire of awareness burns all thoughts, leaving only pure stillness. Just as a fire consumes fuel, deep meditation and self-awareness dissolve thoughts completely, without leaving an echo." Eknatha bowed deeply, his heart filled with gratitude. "Guruji, I now understand. Thoughts are energy. If left unchecked, they become ripples, echoes, and imprints. But through awareness, we can dissolve them back into the stillness from which they came." Basavanna blessed him. "Yes, my child. Do not fight thoughts, just become aware of them, and they will burn away like a dry leaf in the fire of Shiva's wisdom. That night, as Eknatha meditated, he no longer feared his thoughts. He simply watched them arise and dissolve. And in that stillness, Shiva was there. Now, the moral of the story: where do thoughts go? Thoughts do not vanish, they dissolve back into the ocean of consciousness. Some thoughts are weak and fade quickly, like ripples in a pond. Repeated thoughts become strong vibrations, like echoes that linger in the air. The fire of deep awareness can dissolve even the strongest thoughts, leaving only peace. Do not fight thoughts, just observe them, and they will burn away like a dry leaf in fire. Your thoughts do not define you. Like ripples, like echoes, like fire, they will come and go. Only silence remains. Om Namah Shivaya.